Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out. We're so excited to be here to introduce to the entire Commonwealth, if not the whole America, the HB House Bill 1286. And House Bill 1286 is about human trafficking awareness. And so I'm so excited to be here right now. I see one of my colleagues walking up, grand entrance. So, Representative Robert Ledbetter, and then we have Senator Anthony Williams, and then we have an amazing group of stakeholders who are also invested in this legislation. So because there's so many of us speaking today, I'm going to just start with introducing our Pennsylvania Restaurant Lodging Association, Joe Massaro, President and the CEO. If he could just say a couple words, that would be amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Rep. Young. And good morning, everyone. Again, I'm Joe Massaro, the President and CEO of the Pennsylvania Restaurant and Lodging Association. Thank you for being here to be a part of this important conversation. I want to start by giving a big thank you to our partners at the American Hotel Lodging Association. AHLA is not just supporting today's event, they've been national leaders in the fight to end human trafficking. Their work has helped bring more awareness, training, and meaningful action throughout Pennsylvania and across the country. Human trafficking is an issue that reaches every part of our society, including the lodging, travel, and tourism industries. Big brand hotels, small independent inns, bed and breakfasts, and short-term rentals, whether in big cities or rural neighborhoods, all have a role to play in helping prevent the tragedy of human trafficking. That's why training and accountability need to be universal. And it's why this discussion and the legislation behind it matters. We're incredibly grateful to Representatives Regina Young, Robert Ledbetter, and Eric Nelson for sponsoring House Bill 1286 and making this issue a priority. Your partnership with the industry and your leadership send a clear message. Pennsylvania is not a place where traffickers can operate unchecked. I also want to thank our hospitality and tourism partners standing with us today. Visit Philly, the Greater Philadelphia Hotel Association, the Philadelphia Convention and Visitors Bureau, and Visit Delco. We're strongest when we work together, and this is just one of the many examples that speaking with one voice can make an impact. In this case, we're saying loud and clear, there's no place for human trafficking in Pennsylvania. And we can't afford to wait. Pennsylvania is gearing up to welcome a record number of visitors in 2026 for the World Cup, America 250 celebrations, the NFL Draft, and many other national and international events. A quick thank you to Philadelphia Soccer 2026 for being here today as well, and for helping us move this effort forward. The lodging industry has been at the front of this fight for years. First led by AHLA and nearly every national hotel chain, anti-human trafficking training has become a constant and consistent part of staff education. A few years ago, PRLA launched Checkout Time, No Room for Human Trafficking, which is a free, statewide awareness and training campaign that equips frontline teams with the tools to spot the warning signs and the knowledge to act. With that, I'd like to invite up to the podium the President and CEO of the American Hotel Lodging Association Foundation, Kevin Carey. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Good morning, everyone. And Joe, thank you, and Representative Young, and all the state leaders here today for your leadership and your commitment to this critically important issue. I'm honored to be here on behalf of the American Hotel and Lodging Association Foundation. We've been working for years to unite the hotel industry around human trafficking prevention efforts through our No Room for Trafficking initiative. This work is a critical part of the AHLA Foundation's mission. In 2019, AHLA launched the No Room for Trafficking initiative because we recognized the important role the hotel industry plays in stopping human trafficking. This initiative provides industry-wide training, resources, and partnerships to help hotels identify, prevent, and respond to trafficking situations. Since its inception, over 2.2 million trainings have been completed, helping to create frontline defense against this crime. Our foundation and the hotel industry members we represent work alongside law enforcement and survivor advocacy organizations to strengthen prevention strategies and provide critical support to those impacted. Just last week, we convened industry leaders at our annual No Room for Trafficking Summit in Washington, D.C., and awarded grants to 12 community-based organizations from around the United States to support the essential work they're doing in uplifting human trafficking survivors. Recognizing the signs of human trafficking can be extremely difficult. Reporting suspicious activity can seem daunting. Employee training, therefore, is critical so that those on the front lines, whether they're front desk employees, concierges, housekeeping, valets, have the tools they need to spot and safely report human trafficking. Beyond the prevention training we're committed to, we are dedicated to supporting survivors as well. Through partnerships with community-based organizations, we help survivors develop new skills, continue their education, and find employment opportunities that allow them to rebuild their lives. The hospitality industry is fully committed to being a leader in this fight, but we know it requires public-private collaboration. Hoteliers, policymakers, law enforcement, survivor advocacy groups, and other industries working in close coordination. Together, we can continue to make a real difference. Thank you all for being here today, and thank you for your leadership and partnership.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you both mentioned the importance of people working together, because we can't call ourselves legislators or people who are public facing or people who care about people in our various capacities if we are not focused on the safety and the education of people. And so I'm really excited to have you all here as stakeholders. And I see our commissioners from Tenneco who joined us today. If you want, you can also come up and as well. So I would like to add that it wasn't just me who started this legislation. It was myself, and then Rep. Ledbetter and Rep. Tarek Khan, and then Rep. Eric Nelson, and it's bipartisan support. And for those of you who are not quite understanding what that means, is you have the Democrats and you have the Republicans working together for a common goal. So as we're talking about bringing humanity back to Harrisburg, this is essentially what we are talking about. So thank you for helping to introduce this piece of legislation. And so, interestingly enough, I wasn't stalling, but I was giving our community partner here opportunity to come up so she can share a couple of good words, because she's actively doing some work around human trafficking. Shekinah Love, are you interested right now? You good? Okay, let's go.
Thank you, Rep, and thank you all for allowing us to be here today. I'm Dr. Shekinah Love, and I'm actually going to speak on why we should be supporting this bill. As a survivor and founder of Redeem for a Cause Outreach, we have actually trained hotel staff, educators, counselors, and even the district attorney's assistants to recognize and to respond to the signs of human trafficking. House Bill 1286 takes this life-saving work statewide. It's not just a policy, it's a prevention, protection, and accountability, and we fully support this bill and its impact on every frontline professional. Thank you.
Great. All hands on deck. So I would just start again by saying it's an honor to be here today with the members of the Pennsylvania Restaurant and Lodging Association, my legislative colleagues, to help combat the continuing crisis of human trafficking by creating an awareness training program to be required for hotel and lodging employees. Sadly, this problem is intensely focused in our area where we are so closely connected to the major transportation hubs, right? So we have the Philadelphia International Airport. We have two major interstates, 95 and 76. We also have the rail lines, right? And we also obviously have different pockets of where people can walk to. Hotels is a huge space right here in the 185th district. And so it's very important for us to send a blaring message to say we're paying attention and you will no longer be able to go under the radar. Sex crimes and trafficking is growing nationwide. Pennsylvania is not immune. In 2023, the National Human Trafficking Hotline identified 469 victims of human trafficking in Pennsylvania alone, with tens of thousands of victims across the country. To help combat this evil practice, I've introduced legislation that require hotel and motel associates and third-party listing platforms to be trained to understand what human trafficking is, how to identify it, and what steps to take if suspected trafficking is taking place. We're also specifically bringing into this discussion online reservation platforms for long and short term lodging, as they are the modern standard for reservations but allow for easier trafficking through bypassing actual human interaction. This legislation was developed utilizing the best practices from our Pennsylvania employers and is in step with the industry's national training model to help combat sex crimes. I'm happy to have the support of PRLA, who joined us here today, and to have bipartisan support for this bill, including my co-sponsors. Our moral objective is to protect innocent lives from exploitation and to put an end to the evils of human trafficking in Pennsylvania. Let's get this done. So with that being said, I will bring up my other co-prime representative, Robert Ledbetter.
Well, thank you, Representative Young. It is an honor to be here with you and a testament to your leadership that we were all able to gather here today. President Kerry, President Massaro, thank you so much for your vocal support in such an important initiative here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. For those of you that don't know me, my name is State Representative Robert Ledbetter, and I don't represent a district near here. I'm 3 hours away, and I look like I didn't know how to dress this morning, but I do know that we have an issue here in the Commonwealth that is not specific to a geography or a neighborhood. A district like mine, where agriculture is the number one industry, or a district like Representative Young's or Representative Kahn's or Representative Nelson's, is a district that has an issue. And the issue is human trafficking. Here in Pennsylvania, we are not unlike the rest of the nation, where we must be able to approach this issue knowing that we all serve as individuals a place of accountability to help close out this evil within the nation. We have local officials. We mentioned some of the commissioners that have joined us here today. We have think tanks like the American Hotel and Lodging Association, PRLA. We have Dr. Love and her advocacy within our community. And Representative Young mentioned the bipartisan initiative and importance of addressing this. Guys, we invite all of you to join us in pushing back upon sex crimes and human trafficking. It does not matter what function you hold within your community. If you are a community leader, if you are a local official, if you are a policymaker, if you represent an association, we all have an opportunity to lift our communities up and out of this type of behavior and address when it is happening within them. So it is an honor to be here. It is an honor to have worked with Representative Young and Senator Williams and my colleagues on both sides of the aisle and in both chambers, and restore some of the common sense to our Commonwealth and get after some of the issues that Harrisburg needs so desperately to be working on. So thank you, Representative Young.
Thank you so much. And so next we will have Senator Anthony Williams come, who also represents this district as well.
Thank you, Representative Young, and I thank her for her leadership on this particular issue, and her colleagues as well, the Pennsylvania Restaurant and Lodging Association, the American Lodging Association, and others that are gathered here today. Let me be as clear as possible. This issue is now drawing attention, but I've been around for a minute or two, so I can remember when there were reportings of young women, particularly African American females, being lost and not accounted for in America. It's over a decade ago, and they were in extraordinarily high numbers, and they were sort of put on the social platforms as if it was gossip. And the truth was, and is, that that was a very beginning wave of what we now are seeing across Pennsylvania and across this nation. And I'm grateful that those who are in positions of responsibility, influence, and power, these associations that represent mega corporations and small ones as well, bring power and bring voice to a crisis for a generation of young people who don't know how to get out of it. The manner in which this is always introduced, of course, is a way that is seductive, manipulative, and very dangerous. And unfortunately, we have a generation that are not educated on this particular industry. Safe travels. And so therefore they are very vulnerable to what is happening. I'm appreciative of the doctor for being here today because she understands firsthand what I'm talking about. This is a grassroots problem at the very bottom level of America, at people who don't have the money for lobbyists and lawyers and security around them. They are the folks who are most exposed, being manipulated by people who have resources to do such. And so for Representative Young and her colleagues and these associations that are here today, I'm going to work in collaboration with them to introduce a companion bill in the Senate. Hopefully we were able to do what Representative Young has done, and that is bring a bipartisan conversation to this. Representative Ledbetter, I will depend upon you to talk to some of those folks who may not understand it in the way that you do. And we certainly are excited that you left the countryside to be in urban communities. So thank you for being here today. And we look forward to momentum. This is not, and by the way, this is the beginning. Educating those who are safeguards are just the beginning. We also have to have, frankly, the federal government, FBI, have its own unit, which is much more connected to this. And I acknowledge that they do work in a lot of different areas, but this is so pervasive and so dangerous that they need a different unit. So the beginning of intervention and prevention is very important, but we have to have law enforcement equipped with the ability to identify that truck driver who's going to pull over someplace, not in a hotel, not a motel, but invite somebody to get in the back of their cab that is a victim of sex trafficking and not know that they're complicit in that process. And so, again, as the representative said, her words of excitement are not lost on me. And also her words as it relates to the seriousness that we take this and the momentum that we're going to build. So thank you very much.
All right, so we're going to round it up. As we mentioned, we have our stakeholders, we have our community organizations, we have our legislators, and we also need our law enforcement agencies to be on board, and they are. And so I'm so excited to bring up Steve Banner from the Delco Criminal Investigations Unit.
Good morning. First and foremost, I want to thank everyone for attending and showing their support, especially Representative Young, against this battle of human trafficking. I am the Sergeant of Human Trafficking in Delaware County, and this is a global issue. This isn't just here in Tinicum or Delaware County, it's a global issue. Education, educating individuals on this topic is crucial for not only our investigations and getting a good, successful prosecution, but it's getting the actual victims the need and help and aid they deserve. So again, I just want to thank Representative Young for all her support in getting this bill through. Thank you.
This is great. All right, so you've heard from everyone, and we're excited to move this legislation forward so the governor can sign it. Oh, I have to stop, sorry. See, when your mentor teaches you decorum, you pay attention. He was quiet, so now I'm quiet during that. So I just want to say, again, thank you to all the stakeholders. We have a lot of work to do, but I'm excited to start here because we have all voices right here. And I know we didn't visit Philly out, but I remember, and they're here today, but I remember when we met about the introduction of what the world is going to see in 2026 in Pennsylvania. The words were 2026 and beyond. This legislation, I get it. The world is going to be watching Pennsylvania in 2026, but we want to make sure that we are having safeguards around us and beyond. So it's bigger than 2026. This is a people problem that should have been addressed, but now we're addressing it. But we're not looking specifically solely at 2026. We're looking at protecting Pennsylvanians now and beyond. So with that being said, thank you so much for coming to our press conference.